So our next panel is our next three speakers lead outstanding education programs. And as we know, education is key to any kind of successful conservation program. So our speakers in order, and we're calling it a lightning round. They're each going to go pretty quick. So I want to introduce them all and then we'll let them go one after the other. So Denise Hickey is the Water Resource Program Manager and Public Education Manager at the North Texas Municipal Water District. She's going to speak about the Water is Awesome campaign. Dana Nichols is the Conservation Manager for the San Antonio Water System. Her current focus is addressing outdoor water use through a variety of programs. And she's also doing a complete update of the Garden Style San Antonio website, and then she's going to be speaking about that program. And then Marion Dickinson is the President and CEO of the Alliance for Water Efficiency. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting the efficient and sustainable use of water in the U.S. and Canada. Marion's going to describe the Alliance's fairly new Learning Landscapes program. We'll have the speakers go one after the other, and then we'll have Q&A at the end. And I appreciate all of you being here and trying the short presentation format. First up is Denise.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here and share our campaign that we have up here in the North Texas region. As Jennifer mentioned, and she stressed that consumer education and awareness of best management practices is key to changing any of our water use behaviors. So I'm going to do a lightning round on our regional campaign that has been developed. So if you'll change the slide, Jonathan. Perfect. Water is awesome. Use it, enjoy it, just don't waste it. It is a campaign that is a partnership between three of the large water providers in the North Texas area. If you'll change the slide. I'll go over in the presentation for the focus, the regional partnership who's involved, the goal of the Water is Awesome campaign, benefits, the irrigation tool, how we address that on our website, and then campaign highlights that we used in the media for the past two campaigns. Next slide. So Water is Awesome, water awareness and education campaign began its partnership with Dallas Water Utilities and Tarrant Regional Water District in 2009. The Water District, North Texas Municipal Water District, joined in 2019. So the three providers are collaborating together, working together, and providing a successful marketing education campaign through the North Texas area. This information on population is taken from the Regency plan. Wanted to share this because it gives you an indication of just how many people that we are reaching through our education efforts. Dallas Water Utilities has over 2.6 million people served. North Texas Municipal Water District over 1.8, and Tarrant Regional Water District over 2.2. And we know from our planning efforts that these populations are going to double or maybe triple over the next 50 years. And so water planning is critical. And as we've learned today, and hopefully you'll remember that conservation efforts do play a vital role in meeting our long-term supplies. Next slide. So this just gives you a layout with the counties on a map showing you the blue is Tarrant Regional, the purple is Dallas Water Utilities, and the green area is the North Texas service area. So you can see how our service areas are laid out across this metroplex. I mean, we basically cover everything in the metroplex plus moving into other counties to the south and to the west. Next slide. So water awareness, the Water is Awesome campaign is used and implemented to increase public awareness for water use and efficiency. We want to increase consumer engagement into the Water is Awesome websites where they can learn additional information and tips to use water wisely inside and outside the home. We want to increase awareness and the application of the value of water, how important water is to this North Texas area and to your city. And we also want to reduce water waste. We target our outdoor watering because we know that this in the summer months is where we see the largest waste of water. And our water treatment plants and capacities for water supply are all based on the peak summer demands, which are June through September. Next slide. The regional benefits for the regional program is that we have one consistent message airing through all of the different media channels, whether it be TV, radio, or on the billboards. In addition, we're all collaborating our funds, aggregating those together so that we can have a larger media buy and have a bigger presence throughout that media platform. We share the creative agency and the production cost, and we have coordinated and matched media purchases. For campaign development, we target the, as I mentioned earlier, the high water use months of June through September, and we use the typical media platforms that any other campaign would typically use: TV, radio, billboards, social media, print, digital, transit for the DART or the Texas rail system. And we always want to have a call to action, which is to guide them to the waterisawesome.com webpage so that they can learn additional tips and information. Next page, or next slide. So each of the water providers use different irrigation tools for their consumers. Dallas and Tarrant Regional Water District use the Water is Awesome weekly recommendation, and then North Texas uses the watermyyard.org irrigation tool. And so having one website with two recommendations, you can see I've highlighted here, one of the options to select is your weekly watering advice. Next slide. And to address the difference between the two entities, you have the weekly watering advice for the Water is Awesome, or you can select your Water My Yard based on the text. I know it's small, but it'll give you information on who your provider is. So there you can select the appropriate irrigation tool for your area. Next slide. Our Water is Awesome campaign in 2019, we wanted to speak to our audience, and we were gearing towards the pride that Texans have, whether it be with the Cowboys or the Stars or the Rangers or the State Fair. We all have great pride in Texas, but one thing we know is water is not typically something that we take pride in or that is really resonating in our consumers' minds. So we wanted to build on water use and wise water use being a pride of Texas. Next slide. We want to make sure that we include that the importance that water is what keeps our economy and our communities growing and thriving. So we want to do our best to save our water supply. Next slide. This is an example of our 2019 billboard. You can see that it has the Texas theme, the Texas star, the Texas colors, and the text reads, "Texas water, let's keep it on tap, y'all. Waterisawesome.com." Next slide. These are samples of print ads, and you can see we have the Texas logo with the Keep Texas Water on Tap. That was the kind of tagline for the 2019 campaign. And we develop creative in both English and Spanish for our service area and our marketing. Next slide. And if, Jonathan, you'll hit the play button, our 2019 television ad should
show. A good old glass of Texas Tap. Water's not just for drinking. We use it for everything. So let's not waste it. Water your lawn only when needed and help keep Texas water on tap. Learn more at waterisawesome.com.
And within our TV ad, we had a prompt to only water when needed. And then you can see that the sprinkler head was adjusted as well. So, and the call to action is the waterisawesome.com. Next slide.
A good old glass of Texas
Next
Tap.
slide. There you go. So for the 2020 campaign, we all found ourselves at home working, and we thought, okay, what are we going to do? Everybody's at home. So we wanted to bring in the importance and the quality of water as The COVID-19 was spreading through the area, and there was concerns about COVID in our water supply system. So we wanted to ensure our consumers that the water was safe, we were there, you know, to provide the water in a safe manner. So if you'll play this spring campaign. And you can see we went right to the point of how important water is, how reliable it is, and how it's safe for our consumers to use. Moving into the summer, next slide. We called this our watercolors. We wanted to make that human connection from our consumers to things that our water provides within our service area. So for North Texas, it's Lavon Lake as our water supply source. Everyone can relate to the Margaret Hill Hunt Bridge in Dallas, and of course the Great Trinity Trails over in the Tarrant Regional Water District service area. And so we wanted something that would really cut through the media, that would be pleasing, that people, you know, since we've all been at home and watching TV, that would, you know, cut through the clutter of the ads that we've been seeing. So I hope y'all enjoy it. So here is our watercolors ad. Next slide. And if you'll click play.
From Lavon Lake to the Trinity Trails, the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge to Cannonball Cove. Water helps keep all of North Texas cool and connected. It puts the ice in our tea and the blue in our bonnets. Water is awesome. Use it, enjoy it, just don't waste it. Visit watersawesome.com to learn ways to keep Texas water on tap.
So we've really had some great responses, and need to speed up because I'm supposed to be a lightning round and I'm talking a little slow. So next slide, sorry. The regional partnership, well, it's my last slide, so good timing. The regional partnership has proven to be very successful for each of our water providers in airing a consistent message and a conservation message. And the benefits include the enhanced media placements through cost advantages and the increased scale of target audience reach. Through our strategic planning, the campaigns can be expanded for multi-year use, encouraging the value of water within our communities, the personal connection, while all driving to waterisawesome.com website for information and tips. And I believe the last slide is next up will be our next presenter. So I appreciate y'all listening in for our campaign, and I hope you enjoyed all the creative developed. And Dana, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. Am I going? I guess I'm going. Next slide. I'm here to talk about gardenstyleessay.com. That's gardenstyleessay.com. I hope everybody visits it today. This is our San Antonio water system conservation website. It is kind of our one-stop for all planning programs, and it was intentionally developed to look very lush and colorful, and I hope when you visit it you think of that. We kind of want to counteract the trope that low water use landscapes are rock. We also launched it in 2013, and we overhauled it in 2019. It turns out one of these big websites, these very deep websites, are kind of like the Golden Gate Bridge, where you start and then you finish and then you start over again. So we'll probably be starting on a new one in about a year, but it's just an overhaul. We had last year, according to Google Analytics, over 15,000 visits from the Dallas area. Next. We promote co-benefits. This goes straight into what we've always done in conservation in San Antonio, which is we meet you where you are. We have all different kinds of ways for people to conserve in San Antonio, and water conservation in the landscape, there's a multitude of ways and reasons why people want to do that. One of them that we've always promoted, but is really based on our surveys that we've done locally, really is up and running, is people really want to promote habitat for bees, birds, and butterflies, among other things. But they're really getting into that, and so we're very excited about that. Future, like I said, it's just a constant. It's constant. One of the things is we really want to increase our newsletter sign-in. Right now, it goes to about 18,000 people. So I'm hoping that after today's session, everybody will get on gardenstylesa.com and sign up for the newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter that comes right to your mailbox about 2 o'clock on Tuesday afternoons, just when you need a little break. Next. So the next slides are really going to be screenshots of the website. This is the home page, at the top part of the home page. You'll see a slider with our most recent articles, weekly articles that we send with the e-newsletter. It goes out with constant contact. This is based on a WordPress site. The center area there, the current watering advice, that is very, very local to San Antonio. And we look at our Texas A&M ET network, SAWS network that we have here in San Antonio, and then use a little on the ground ground truthing, and we give you your weekly advice. Next slide. We have in here something for everything, but if you're a SAWS customer and you want to access one of our many, many water conservation programs, you have to go to gardenstylesa.com to get to our applications, which are also all online and luckily feed into our Salesforce instance, which is a whole nother topic. Next, please. We have a find a plant section. This is kind of your basic, we hope not too basic plant list. We have over 500 plants in our find a plant list right now. This last 2019 round, we really worked on the refined search. Next, please. So we have a lot of different filters on the refined search. In this particular one, we clicked on perennials as the plant type and flower color. We wanted a red flower, and we've got 25 of those that come up. Turns out search is really, really hard. That's why Google owns the world, I think, is because they got really, really good at search. But to do one that's internally, that you're not depending on the Google engine, is really hard, but we've worked hard to make this work out. Next. This is just some more filters that we have. Native, attracts wildlife, and then we have more filters further down that I'm not getting to, but next. If you clicked into one of the plants, I call it the personal plant page. Each plant has a personal plant page. This is at the top of the page. Again, look at, we're trying to get that lushness. So the photographs, we're always going for very lush, high-end photographs where possible. And then you have a little summary. Next. And if you scroll down, this would be, you have a little bit about the plant, maintenance of the plant. If you scroll down further, you would have a little summary, quick summary of about the plant, and also different plants that we think go well with this plant. So a little kind of design element too that you get on every page. Next. This is our events calendar. We use Talkify as the WordPress plugin, if you're interested in into that. And our calendar master, Donna Fossum, loves it. She maintains the calendar for us in conservation. And it's a community-wide calendar. So anything that is very focused, of course, on conservation or tangential, those co-benefit activities and information that people can get to, we put up on the calendar for people. Next. As you click into the calendar, you can look at different views. I like this view the best. You'll see that some of the events are said to be rewards eligible. If you go into our Water Saver Programs tab and be sure and look up the rewards program. It's kind of like a frequent flyer mile program for learning about outdoor water use and landscapes and anything kind of tangential to it. Our partners, we have 6 nonprofit partners that we work with, Master Gardeners, Botanical Gardens, and others that have an overlapping mission, and so we've contracted with them to continue to get the word out. So this helps with that. We have over 5,000 people in the rewards program, and to be honest, since we've been home, because we have a lot of people, including Texas AgriLife here in Bexar County, doing online learning, and they're our partners, so we give rewards points for it also. It has really taken off. So there's a little silver lining over there, I guess, to all of this. Next. This is our new garden resources section that we put in at on the 2019 update. It is kind of your one stop for all kinds of different things gardening. We figured we needed a place where you could get back to the basics. We have another program that's a landscape coupon program that basically is a program where you remove turf and you replace it with perennials. And you get a coupon in order to buy those perennials from us. And we did a survey. About 2,000 people answered it. People always answer our surveys. It's great. We surprisingly found out that 80%, and these are thousands of people, 80% of the people that took advantage of that coupon program, where you had to rip out 200 square feet of grass and replace it with perennials, it was their first or almost first gardening experience. And those of us that garden know that gardening is hard. And we started looking around and realizing that we really needed to get back down to the basics. And so we've done the best we can, and we'll continue to add to this. We also have videos, about 30 how-to videos that help, and we'll be making more of those. But this is kind of that section, and I'll highlight a couple. Next. So if you went and clicked on maintenance, which is actually a big topic that's often overlooked. You know, it's fun to do the design and get the plants in, and then people kind of forget about the maintenance. That's with everything, right? This is our maintenance section, and you can do it by month. What do I do in October? And if you were to scroll down, you would see trees, herbs, turf, perennials, annuals, a couple other things. You could get it by month. You could also switch over to plant type, or you could switch over by topic, which would be things like mulching, pruning, mowing, that kind of thing. Watering, of course. Next. Also in garden resources, we have the Gardens for Wildlife section. As I mentioned before, a big motivator in the last couple of years is it's either wildlife gardening or outdoor spaces. We find people are most interested in right now regarding their landscapes, and actually over the last couple of years, pre-COVID. Next. These are just the topics within the wildlife area, and then you click into that, and then there's more pages and more pages. But we hope with brief, engaging information for people. Next. If you get that newsletter, it comes with 2 or 3, right now 2 since we've been home, but 2 or 3 highlighted articles each week, and it highlights something timely. Usually, and/or can be what they call evergreen, so you can pick it up at any time and it makes sense. Our communications people are always trying to get us to do more of that. We have almost 1,000 articles, I checked. And next. And finally, we take the message on our road. This is the wraps that we do for our irrigation consultations. These 6 consultants are in high-end gated communities all day long, and we want to show that water saver landscapes can be beautiful, and who does not want a hummingbird in their yard? And next. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Am I all set to go? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I'm Marianne Dickinson with my COVID hairdo. This is the issue when you grow out your hair to gray during a pandemic. So I look a little different than my picture, but I'm the same person. So I'm here today to talk to you about Alliance for Water Efficiency's Learning Landscape Program. So next slide, please. So what is the Learning Landscapes program? This is an idea that actually came to us from Scott's Miracle Grow, and we worked with them to develop the program with grant funding from them. Their foundation is very interested in promoting sustainable landscapes. So what we wanted to come up with was a program that would work with teachers and students to teach them about sustainable landscapes at their homes. And the program that we came up with consists of some free curriculum lessons for the teachers, and some small grants to communities for constructing what we call learning landscapes to match the curriculum that can be used to instruct students on a live action basis. Next slide. So the grants that we are giving out, we're currently awarding them as we speak. We received from Scott's $40,000 that we could distribute in 8 grants to communities of $5,000 each. And the purpose of the grants was to build or improve demonstration gardens using the Learning Landscapes lessons that we prepared, which I'll talk about in a minute. And I'm happy to say that 2 grants of the 8 have been awarded in Texas this year. One to the Edwards Aquifer Authority and one to the City of Houston Public Works. And additional grants will be awarded in 2021. Scott's was very happy with the program, so they asked us to continue it and move it into 2021. Next slide. So the curriculum itself that we've developed consists of 3 curriculum lessons, and they're based on upper elementary and middle school students. So it's that age range, that grade range, and they align with the next generation science standards, which the teachers like. The curriculum lessons were written by 2 educators with considerable experience in writing curriculum lessons. We released them in April of this year, and we didn't know whether we'd have any uptake at all during the pandemic, knowing full well that teachers weren't teaching the way they were normally. Everything was in sort of a weird virtual limbo. But we've had 260 teachers request it so far, and we've been very happy with the response on it. So again, Scott's is interested in increasing the use of this program, so we'll be, based on feedback we might have from those teachers, tinker with the existing 3 lessons a bit, but we'll also develop an additional lesson in 2021. Next slide, please. So what we want to do in this program, and we'll be doing a lot more work as we go through the next sort of 6 months or so, is we want to develop, again, more curriculum lessons, but we also want to create a whole suite of teacher resources to help teachers showcase landscape water use as an important area. I mean, we all know that teachers love to teach their students, hey, you can conserve water, just turn off the water when you brush your teeth. And while that's a valid tip, it is nowhere in comparison to the amount of water that a household puts out on the landscape. So we want to sort of pivot towards efficient water use and teach the students that a lot of their wastage, home water wastage, is actually outdoors, not so much indoors as everybody thought. So we have a Home Water Works website, which is a consumer website that the Alliance has built, and we'll be building out a lot of teacher resources on this site. And so there's a teacher tab. You can see it's highlighted there in the navigation bar. And right now it just has the lessons curriculum, but over the next year or so, you're going to see a lot more added to teachers, for teachers, and for their students. One of the lessons we want to build into it is how students can use the Home Water Works calculator, figure out what their water use is in their home, and especially on the outdoors part of it, and take the lessons that they've learned from the curriculum and from the demonstration gardens and try and apply it in their home landscapes with their parents as well. So that's the sort of idea of the whole thing. Next slide. And I think I can bring this up. This is my last slide. Here's my email and our office phone number, which also rings out to my phone at home. And we're happy to answer any questions you might have about the program. We will be issuing another round of grants for next year. So if you didn't apply for it this time around and would like to, we would be happy to entertain an application from you. We'll sign up for our mailing list if you're not already on it, and sign up and let us know. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Marianne. Thank you to all of our presenters, Denise and Dana. We had a couple of questions for Dana regarding the Garden Style website. What kind of manpower or staffing does it take to to maintain that site and do the work that y'all are doing. Dana, are you there? You might be on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I typed an answer. I don't know if I was supposed to do that or not,
Oh,
but it's a large. It is not. It is a large undertaking, I have to say. We have a pretty large conservation staff, over 20, and of them, about half have a wide-ranging expertise, and as far and general expertise too. So our staff provides all the content for it, but then we also work closely with our communications department. They're the ones that pull together with our content, the constant contact email that goes out every week, the newsletter, and of course, you can't do anything without your IT department. We're trying to be fairly self-sustainable is the idea. So our platform is WordPress, and then we use Talkify and some other plugins that help us get by, but it is not a small thing. We are happy if anybody wants, because a lot of this information is good for North Texas. If anybody wants to link any of their stuff into gardenstylesa.com, we're happy for you to do it, and we hope you visit it and get the newsletter.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There was a couple questions for Denise regarding the Water is Awesome campaign budget, and she answered those if y'all want that information in the Q&A. I have a question for Marianne. Marianne, who can apply for the Learning Landscapes grants, and do you need help from utilities to promote that program?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Anyone can apply. What they need is a landowner permission for where the garden will be constructed, and they need to demonstrate how they're going to bring students and use the Learning Landscapes curriculum for the garden. So the garden doesn't have to be on public property, although almost all of our applications did have that. For example, in Houston, it's going to be on one of the Parks and Recreation properties as part of their Water Conservation Garden Labyrinth. And at Edwards Aquifer Authority, they're going to do it at Morgan's Wonderland Camp. So it can be just about anywhere, as long as you can demonstrate how you will bring students to the site, how many students, and what the landscape will look like. So it's a short application. It doesn't take much to put it together. We're very conscious that for only $5,000, we can't ask for a lot of work in advance. But we give you 9 months to put it together, and then we'll need just a final report to file with the Scott's grant report. So anyone can apply.
Great. Thank you so much. That sounds like a great opportunity. I think that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you all once again to the presenters. Jennifer, you want to close with a couple moments?
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you to Dana, Denise, and Marianne for your presentation. I know it's a lot to ask to go over your really comprehensive programs that quickly, so thank you for giving it a shot, and for all your work that you do on education. And I'm sure that they would love to share any of the stuff they have with other utilities.